Hi, my name is Ikemefuna and I'm a Frontend Developer, and this is my career review with Fast Hire. My name is Ikemefuna Ezieke. I'm a front-end engineer, so I've been a front-end engineer for the past 3 years now. That's since 2020, and I'm still working on front-end. So mostly I'm into IT tech, what everybody wants to be in. I actually didn't start off my career as a software developer, like a front-end engineer. I started off my career as a technical support, right? So where I have to deal with routers and switches, then respond to staff requirement or request, fixing systems and all that. So to me, the job was just coming off as something I do like on a daily basis, like just picking up a phone, going through a phone, know what the contents of the phone, navigating through the phone. So it was becoming quite boring till I decided to make a move to switch, try something more challenging. So that's when I met. We hired actually the company hired a new manager on the business and technology development, right? So they have my previous team lead pushed me under him so I could learn how to code, and luckily for me, that was the perfect time because I was thinking about a switch. So that's when I started going into front end, right? So I started off learning Angular. I didn't get the time to go through basic because I studied computer science. I already have some of the basic knowledge, right? So with programming and all that, but I didn't kick off into writing programs. So that's how I started, right? So he gave me a couple of tasks and handed me some links, some topics to research on, and a particular framework, a JavaScript framework. Actually, I specify on Angular, so that's the framework he assigned me to learn. So that's how my journey kicked off. For different people, it might differ based on what you're doing. So if you're currently on a career path, right? So it's going to take a longer time because you have to make out time to do your work and do your own personal learning. So it's going to take quite a time. For me, that I'm already working in a section where I have to be called almost every day, right, to respond to requests. So it took me a couple of months, more than 6 months, I guess, because I know I was grounded. Like I started off ending of 2020 after the COVID-19, and I was grounded around October of 2021. All right, so it took me quite a time. But if you are not currently on the career path, right, it's going to take you a lesser time because you'll be focused on what you want, right? So there is no distractions, right? You focus on learning. But the thing about programming, coding, and all that, you never know everything. So I wouldn't say that I already know everything. So you get to a point where you are okay and you can do things on your own, but you literally don't know everything because with IT things keeps advancing. So it's like a gaming level keeps advancing and advancing. The more you advance, the more it gets easier and easier, right? So you get your ground there. In this career path, so the challenge I actually faced was with me, mostly for my own personal reasons, right? I like learning things fast. So when I get stuck and it gets like hard, I feel like fast forwarding time so I can learn it easily. So it takes time because we don't know terminologies, how to communicate your issues when you get stuck on a bug. So communicating issues like Like I remember I was assigned to build a task like to do app. That's actually the first project I actually worked on. So my team lead required I build a to do application. So that's to ground myself on Angular, so I wouldn't be caught up in a tutorial loop, because that's what many people get caught up on. Get caught up on watching tutorials, taking notes, practicing with the tutorials, and we end up figuring out that that we don't really know anything at the end of the day when you stop watching the tutorials, because you'll be copying what the tutorials are teaching you. So working on projects, like having personal projects or working on something on your own, or picking a project that someone has done already and doing it on your own, makes it easier to learn a particular framework, right? So building to do application helped me get myself into the front end, and from there, that's where I kicked off. Engineering, like, it goes back to web development, mobile, desktop, depending on where you want to venture into. So I mostly specify with the web front end, which I'm currently working on my mobile skills. So it's basically the client side of any application. That's what the front end is. So the side where users get to interact with an application or browser, that's all front end. So I started off with Angular. Angular is actually not a programming language. Angular is a JavaScript framework, right? So we have other JavaScript frameworks such as React and Vue, and many more. So I mainly got familiar with Angular, because for me it's well structured and is basically used for most large enterprise applications, right? So I did specify it with Angular, and also I learned another programming language. Yeah, I worked into Python. I was using that for data automation and data cleanup. So that's just something I do, a period in a year. So it's not like every time. So front-end engineer, let's say, for the start, for the first things, you need to know how to communicate, right? Because communication is key for any IT person, because bug is one thing you don't want to get stuck in, and if you can't explain how you are stuck or what you are stuck on, there is no way someone can understand or help you out. So communication is key. Then you have to be a team player, know how to team player and communication, it's like a synergy. You need that, because in order to communicate, you have to be a team player, because like I said, nobody knows everything, right? So what you know, like, basically limits is basically limit to what another person knows. So you need to be able to communicate, be a team player, be a problem solver, and you have to also be inquisitive, right? So because you're not building an application for yourself, you're building it for clients. So you have to think outside the box. Oh yeah, so if I click on this button, what if you have a network failure or slow internet, when a user double clicks an action like a button, so instead of sending a request twice, you just do it once. So you have to check all those. So it's a whole lot of logic and mental work. So that's you need all those problem solving skills. That's the basic thing that I can mention, basic technical skills I can mention. You have to be good at communication, team player, then a problem solver. So a front-end engineer is an engineer who can handle anything front-end, be it web, be it mobile, be it desktop, anything front-end, anything client-side. A front-end engineer can handle that. So there's no much different with the front-end developer. So it's just terminologies. But for most people, for front-end developer means like, okay, this guy specifies on web only, right? So you can be like, I'm front-end for web developer. I'm front-end developer for web. So there's basically not much difference with that. So, but once you
Okay.
get to a higher level, once you mention that you're a front-end engineer, you're expected to know, you're expected to work across platform, mobile, web, desktop, and the rest. First thing, so the two basic things you need for any IT skill you want to acquire. So you need a fast system, a fast laptop. Then you need internet. When you have all those, when you have those two, the rest is just basically on you, your consistency, right? So, but to help out, you need to find a mentor, right? A mentor is like someone who is already on the field.
Mm.
It makes it easier for you to navigate, or like it gives you a quick direction on what you want to achieve, like with the whole experience and knowledge the the experienced developer has, so he can point you in the directions to go. And it's better off than you kicking off going to YouTube to browse on frameworks you want to learn, because you're basically learning but with no directions, right? So you are going to do it the hard way.
Mm.
Okay, so portfolio is basically like a CV, like it's like your profile, right? So it's like
Okay.
a CV, but now it's not like a document CV. It's probably a web application where you have everything about you, then different links that can navigate through all the projects you've worked on, which are not like company-based projects, that's your own personal projects that can be shared with other people. So you don't get into any trouble sharing private projects that companies don't want you to share. So it's basically a profile of yourself. But most especially people that need a portfolio is people that decide to work on freelance. So freelance, they need a full portfolio to show what you can do, right? Because some employers or some contract job will require to share your portfolio if they are going to hire you as a freelance. Share your portfolio. They want to see your code base and all that. So you have to develop it yourself. You don't need WordPress. WordPress is like a web design. You just pick up. It's a template you pick up, and you don't basically write codes on WordPress. So, or
Mm.
with portfolio, you have to like show your skills, like if you decide that if you identify as an Angular developer, so your portfolio you should develop it in Angular, right? Then if you decide that you're a React framework developer, you should design your portfolio in React, because sometimes clients who don't want to see just the web app, they want to see your code base, right? To know what you build the application with, right? And see how you scaffolded your application. So I have a few personal projects. Some I worked on for job requirement. That's like an assessment. Then some of them, okay, I have basically two I can share show right now. So I'll start off with the
Okay.
one that I started with when I wanted to start working on a content management system, like a dashboard. So I'm going to share my screen right now. This is a dashboard I built on my own, right? So this is like the first dashboard I ever built on my own, right? So I
Okay.
was learning how to build a content management system. So when you most people, when you sign up on an application, let's say Instagram and the rest, all you do is just sign in, right? You
Yes.
just have your profile and every other thing. So there are people that manage your data, right? So like when your password is when you forget your password and the rest. So there are people that manage your data, especially this goes for mostly companies, right? So if
Mm.
you are sending data, you just have all your payments, all your reconciled payments, unreconciled payments, manual settlements. So all the actions, all the processes you perform using your account will be listed
Okay.
here, right? So we can navigate. If you've made a payment or something that you don't remember, we could just go through this, like you are talking to customer service. We could just go through this, find out if you're actually telling the truth, find out what goes wrong. So this is what the dashboard does, right? It's just
Mm.
basically managing user data and content management, right? So this is what the dashboard looks like. So one thing with front end again is you have to make your work responsive, right? So you're not going to not it's not all user that is going to use their mobile phones, right? So you have to cascade make your application responsive to all mobile views, right? Any device at all. So I'll use this particular project to explain what I mean by that. So this particular project is like this is what I did for a job assessment, right? So they required me to build this within 24 hours. So I had to watch this. So what I mean by responsive, right? So I'll use okay. So this is what this application looks like on the mobile view. This is an iPhone what? So this is an iPhone 12 Pro. So this is what this application will look like on an iPhone 12 Pro. Right? So there is a whole lot of work to do as a front end engineer, right? Even though as a back end is no one is easy. And if anyone tells you it's easy, that's a terrible lie. So you have to make it look good on a tab. So you have to look into all this.
Okay.
On different devices, that's what responsiveness means. So you have to be responsive on different sizes of devices. So this basically the two projects I can share right now. Basically, one of my hobbies is playing video game right from when I was a kid. So we're working on front end. When playing games, make you skip time, right? You play a game and you don't know where time passes by, right? So it's the same thing as writing code, right? You write codes. If you meet any developer and they tell you they are busy, believe me, they are busy. If they are not, you might leave them a text message and they will not even read it. They might see it, but they can't respond because they are in the zone. Probably they are working on something and they don't want to get out of that zone, because sometimes one thing with us is like finding focus, right? Because if you can't find that focus, believe me, you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do about it, because our work is mental, right? So
yeah.
So that's that. So yeah. So okay. So to aspiring developers, all I can say is tech is a good place. Technological skills is a good skill to acquire, right? So is a way you can make money, like, right? So you can work based on your own comfort. Sometimes you work overload. So it's not easy, right? It's not easy. But the more you work on projects, then on your own work on projects, because believe me, technology is not something everybody knows. If anybody tell you that they know a particular framework 100%, they're lying. So because it's always advancing, so you have to always be build yourself up, right? You have to be a self-starter. You have to look up new versions, keep yourself up to date and the rest. So if you are starting, so you just keep your mind. So sometimes I'm going to get very, 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 very blank, right? When I mean blank, you can literally stay at your screen for hours without doing anything because you are blank. You don't know what's going on, right? So you have to just take it easy, right? Take it one step at a time. If possible, you get a mentor. Find someone that is already into the field to make life easier for you, so you have a direction of what you want to achieve, right? So it's basically easier to find a mentor. Personally, how I wind is playing music. Music is what keeps us alive. It's what keeps us in a mental state, right? So because sometimes I might just, in exam halls, right? You basically can forget the spelling of it and right? In an exam, right? The pressure and all that. So it goes same way with coding, right? When you run into bugs, believe me, it's like you running mad. It's mentally draining. It's like you running mad. So if you meet a developer that has a bug that you're working on, they are under a lot of stress. Believe me, you might see them sometimes shouting on their own, talking to themselves, right? They sometimes lose belief in themselves. Like, am I really cut out for this particular job role? I'm going to run mad, right? But But the way we actually scale through this is most times we play music. Sometimes we just give ourselves breaks. So when you find yourself in that particular situation, sometimes you just stand up, play music, take a walk. Believe me, it helps. It helps. Because if you stick to your system, working on those bugs you can't fix, you just end up in a loop. Keep on doing the same thing same thing for hours, like because you keep on doing the same thing
without
for an hour.
any progress.
Yeah, without progressing, you keep on doing the same thing for hours. So sometimes you just need to take a walk, play music, do something different, right? To get your mind off that bug. And the funny thing is when you come back and you sit down, you look at that bug, and the first thing you try is the first thing that works, right? Because you just usually figure it out. And what comes in mind, you'll be like, that at those moments when you fix a bug, you feel like a superhero. You'll be like the badass. Like that's what the developers will tell you. You literally see people shout, like,
Happiness.
I really do that sometimes, right? So it gets me frustrated sometimes. So when I fix a bug that I've been dangling about for hours, and I take a walk, come back, and I do it. I literally sometimes stand up and do the Sue celebration, like this bug wants to hold me down, but no, I'm Ronaldo in this building. Nothing can hold me down. Exactly. So it gets you psyched up, right? So everything is mental. So it's like solving a problem when you get to bugs. Bugs are really terrible, especially if you're on a deadline. You can really run mad. You can really run mad. Discussion. Everybody wants to venture into tech because of the money. Honestly, some do it for fun, some do it for money. Most do it for money, right? So you just come in. Oh yeah, I want to do this. I want to get the money, bro. You have to slow down. You have to take it easy. Because if you have the money in mind and you step in, you're going to want to watch everything. Believe me. In that process, you might give up. If you are not strong enough, you might give up, right? Because beginning a career on any programming language, you literally want to drive in sales because everything will seem gibberish. Imagine writing a line of code that can visualize something on your browser, right? So it's going to seem magical, right? So if you are rushing it, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that, bro, it takes time. It takes time. Sometimes the 6 months is not enough. 6 months is always the basic, right? But sometimes the 6 months is not enough. So you have to slow it down, take it one pace at a time, right? Anywhere you get stuck, the easiest way, anywhere you get stuck, that's why I advise to get mentors, right? So anywhere you get stuck, you communicate to your mentor, right? Explain what you're going through. It's easier, right? Because sometimes everybody wants to figure out things out themselves, and sometimes you end up spending a whole lot of hours doing nonsense. Right? It's easier to always communicate when you're stuck. Right? If you have tried it for 2 hours or 3, that's too much. 2 hours, 3 is enough. If you can't figure it out in 2 or 3, communicate to your mentor. Yeah, take a break, communicate to your mentor, explain. Right? Explain what you're stuck on, and the person will explain to you. And believe me, after the person explains and you research about it, it will come easier to you because you've gotten some tips from your mentor, right? So another thing, Google is your friend. Google is your friend. That's all I can tell you. You have to do a whole lot of researches. Google is your friend. You never know everything. You might write a tag today and tomorrow you don't even know how to write that tag. You have to go research on how to write the tag again. It happens to most people. So Google is your friend. No, never expect to know everything. You can't. You can't, honestly. So certifications for our field of my line of work, certification is not like actually necessary. So what's actually necessary is, like you mentioned, portfolios, projects you work on, right? Projects you worked on, that's all that can help out, right? So if you've worked on projects, like I mentioned to you earlier, when I started off, I was requested that I build a to-do application, right? So certificates, if tendering a certificate doesn't guarantee that you you can build an application, right? You might have gone there to just learn theory and all that, right? So there is no actual certification for our line of work unless you want to go into managerial roles. So that's when you start getting certification like Scrum, PMP, business analysis, and all that. So that's when certification comes in place. But you kicking off, really much don't need the certification. All you need is your laptop and internet, then work on some projects. Then host them online where you can show people and all that. So. Firstly, you need a laptop, like you need an internet. That's two core things you need. So once you have those, right, possibly get yourself a mentor.
Okay.
Right? So if you can't get yourself a mentor, you could just go on Udemy or Udacity, any of those career applications where you can find tutorials. Like you can buy tutorials online. You go to any of those. Follow any coach on that particular front-end development skill you want to acquire, be it Angular, be it React, be it Vue. Then you follow it through to the end, right? You do the projects that comes with it, right? But for my own advice, it's better to have a mentor to guide you through. Well, next is build up your CV. Start applying for entry-level jobs, right?
Okay.
You start applying for entry-level jobs. But as long as you build some projects on your own and you can basically prove that, oh yes, I have this skill. You don't literally need to know everything. So there's this thing we call CRUD, right? It's create, read, update, and delete, right? Once you can perform that operation, you are basically in, right? That's basically what we do on our day-to-day applications online. Like when you create, you're creating a profile. Let's say you're creating a profile, you're uploading a new picture, your Instagram account, that's create, right? So when you're scrolling through the apps and seeing other people's pictures and click that read, right? So that's like reading. Then update means like, okay, like the new feature we have on WhatsApp where you can, post text someone and you feel like it's a typo and you want to correct it. You go to that same post, pull it up, then change that text, then click on submit. That's an update. So you're updating what you already sent, you've already created. So delete is what we all know. You just select something you want to delete. That's it. Once you can perform those operations, others come, right? So you need CSS for front-end engineers. You need HTML, you need CSS, you need JavaScript, right? So HTML and CSS mostly, right? HTML and CSS mostly, right? Because that's how you create the visuals, right? That's how you create the visuals of what clients see. Then anything like actions, button, the way the pages react, or what sends you to another page, that's when the logic comes in. That's JavaScript or TypeScript for most frameworks. So that's basically it. Till I find an AI actually that can build a full website, like based on client requirements. Believe me, we are still relevant till then, because clients is like someone saying human needs are insatiable, right? Clients change their minds all the time. So so if you are writing a requirement to an AI to build an application, there is always going to be something missing, right? There's always going to be a need for human intervention. You have to be thoroughly descriptive to an AI to build all those user stories for you. So, and just the thing is, you just keep advancing yourself, because if you don't advance yourself, the tech world will just leave you behind, because tech keeps growing. You might know something today, tomorrow it changes, right? So that's where the versioning comes in. So you just keep advancing yourself, keep looking at trends. If there are any updates you need to learn it. But for now, I don't think AI is taking our job yet. But you just keep up with the updates, right? So like I mentioned, I specify with Angular, right? So jobs I take are mostly Angular jobs. So to be vast, I call myself like a full-time front-end engineer. I have to know React. I have to know Vue, like a couple more front-end frameworks. That's basically for web design. I have to know mobile development too, right? So keep on building yourself. So you'll not be limited to one particular framework and limited to building only web apps. It's not everybody that's going to code for the rest of your life. So most people, after 6 years into the field, they want to take up a managerial role. So they go into Scrum, project management, or some other higher courses. So that's when your certifications comes to play.
Okay.
Yeah. Bro, the tech world is not easy. Everybody say tech. It's not easy, brother. You have to be in your right mind. Like you're going to literally isolate yourself. You can't meet any tech person that is always outside. Nah, you're always indoors. So the tech life is not easy. Everybody make it seem like a bed of roses. Actually, it's not the bed of roses. But you believe me, when you learn the skills, you actually make your money. You make your money for it's mentally straining. When I started off and when things were like I've not grasped a whole lot. I used to have PTSDs on Mondays. I used to have PTSDs on Mondays because when I get assigned a task and you need it ASAP, my brain runs to too many directions. Like I literally can't think straight. So that's why we always have music. Most of us, for us to cope, we always play music while working. All right, so we do a whole lot of isolation. You barely see us. Ah.
All right, thank you so much, Ikemefuna. I really appreciate you coming and joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too, man.
Okay, all right, bye.
Bye.